In the shadows of the mind where secrets hide, we dive into the dark where truth collides.
Forensic minds unravel the twisted thread. True crime tales from the living and the dead.
Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Echoes of the past in every crime.
From the profiler's chair to the courtroom fight, we seek the reasons in the dead of night.
Motives buried deep in hearts gone cold. Stories of the broken waiting to be told. Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Join the quest, uncover the line.
All right, everybody.
Welcome.
I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. I'm back to talk about Dulance Morin. I did a quick little live earlier today and didn't have like as much information. Now I'm happier with the level of information that I have about it to discuss it and talk about it. And I think it's incredibly interesting. Okay. Now, the woman who was shot and killed is Maria Mia Lewis. And Maria is the mother of 7 children. Those 7 children are the age span for those 7 children is 2 years old all the way up to 12 years old. So essentially, she's kind of stayed pregnant for the past 12 years, right? So she was a stay-at-home mom. She did not work. And she was a dedicated, devoted mother. And from that point forward, the story gets very murky and very curious. If you have not heard about this story, can you put a 1 in the chat? I'm just curious how much we already know, how much is out there. Just put in there 1 if you have heard about it, 2 if you don't really know anything about it. And I'm going to wait until a few people come into the chat, and please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. Okay, so Nancy Drew, welcome, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Crime Ghost, welcome. It's wonderful to see you. So we've got a few people don't really know anything about it, hadn't really heard about it. This is a shocking story. Like this. Okay, so Critter, hey Critters. Critter Watcher saw the brief live that I did earlier. This is a wild story. It is so horribly tragic. I don't even know this poor dad. How do you move forward as a single parent when your children are literally 2 years old to 12 years old? How do you even come up with a game plan? Like, it's hard enough to take care of that many kids when you have a stay-at-home wife. You know what I mean? So this story is about one of the most chilling and confusing stories that I have heard in a very long time. So so here's the brief kind of picture that sets the stage. Hi, Diane. So Diane hasn't heard it either. So all of this happened in Arizona. I know there's some wild stories coming out of Arizona, people. And guess where? So this man, Dulance, I found an old Vita or resume online for him, but the resume ends, I think, in 2000, maybe it was 15. And the house that he was living in then, he'd been there for about 12, 13 years. It was in Gilbert, Arizona. We keep getting these wild stories coming out of Gilbert, right? Now, since that time, the resume, hold on, let me get it open again. The resume is posted on LinkedIn, which is very interesting because it's an old resume. It's not an updated modern resume. However, it's very interesting because it gives you a little bit of background to Dulance, who is currently a law enforcement agent in Mesa, Arizona, where they currently live. And he's been at that position for like 13 years. So the last place that he worked before working for the Attorney General as an investigator, he was working at the Arizona Corporation Commission in Phoenix, Arizona, from 2012 up to about 2013 or 14. And he was working for the Arizona Securities Enforcement Division. He was a special investigator where he researched and reviewed case files and gathered information to solve violations of the Securities and Investment Management Act. So all of his placements in like the last 20 years have been pretty elite. You know, they've been pretty high level, not so much working with like community law enforcement as much as investigating very specific types of white collar crime. He worked for Nordstrom in loss prevention. He was a regional internal investigator from 2011, 2012, before he went over to the Securities and Exchange or Securities and Investment Management Commission of Arizona. So he worked at Nordstrom's for a very long time, but it's like almost as soon as he started working as a special investigator for, I guess, high crime, white collar crime. Couple of years of that, and then he got scooped up by the Attorney General's office, where he's now been there ever since as an investigator. So at Nordstrom's, he won some kind of award where he was a Nordstrom Customer Service All-Star from 2009 to 2010. He was selected for some kind of manager training program in 2011. He was promoted to regional loss prevention internal investigator in 2011 as he completed the MIT training. And then he was hired as an Arizona State Security Special Investigator in 2012. He received the award for Exemplary Recruit in 2013. And at that point, he was then scooped up by the Arizona Attorney General's office. Yes, he's a hot shot. He's a fancy pants. He knows what he's doing, which makes this story even crazier, doesn't it? He is bilingual. He has management training in addition to law enforcement and investigation training. He passed a test for the knowledge of securities industry standards. He is certified for criminal investigations. He worked undercover. He also did visible surveillance. He has testified in court appearance and testimony, both administrative, or I guess I should say all of administrative, grand jury, and white collar criminal. Look, the guy knows what he's doing. He's done it all. He has also done public speaking to talk about the benefits of law enforcement and trying to recruit people to, high quality candidates for law enforcement. So, yeah, this information about Dulance makes you even more confused by how this could have happened. Let me set the stage, okay? This is the way that it kind of unfolded. You have a woman who is at home, 32 years old, a young woman, very good health, okay? She's at home with her husband and her 7 children. We can only assume that the kids are sleeping, but that's an assumption. We don't know. The husband says so he's at the house with all the kids, and the cops pull up and they say, excuse me, sir, your wife has been shot. And he says, that's ridiculous. My wife left to go on a walk. Now, the problem is it's 2:30 in the morning. It's literally the early morning hours, about the same time, actually, that Nancy Guthrie was stolen from her bed. Same time, 2:45 in the morning. They broke in about 1:40 something. 2:30 in the morning, her pacemaker loses contact with her phone. But one thing that came to my mind with the whole Nancy Guthrie thing, remember how many security cameras we started seeing where people were lurking on other people's back door, like in their backyard, on their back door, on their front door, looking to be kind of trying to break into the house? I mean, there were a lot of us following the Nancy Guthrie case, and we were like, of all the things that I've learned from the Nancy Guthrie case, I've learned I need to have a Ring doorbell on every side of my house. I need to make sure that I have great locks, because while I'm fast asleep, people are crawling all over my damn house. Like, it's scary how much criminal activity is happening out there while normal people are fast asleep, right? Yeah, so it's like the witching hour, correct? So you had this beautiful, I mean, really beautiful. Maria was gorgeous by Hollywood standards, by anyone's standards. She's a beautiful woman. 32 years old. She's in the house with her 7 children and her husband. It's the witching hour. And what does she do? I mean, according to the husband, he said that she wanted to go out for a walk and he stayed at home to watch the kids. That is the actual story that was told to the police. Now, he had no idea what was going on. He was at home and he looked outside and he saw cop cars pulling up to his house. And he was like, whoa, what's happening in the neighborhood, right? And they came up and they were like, I'm sorry, sir, your wife's been shot. And he was like, no, she's on a walk. And they said, no, she's been shot at your neighbor's house. And they said, the journalist the next day asked him like how he found out about what happened to his wife. And he said, well, I didn't know anything until the cops pulled up at my house, and that it was actually the cops that told me. So what do you think about that part of the story? Now, I had some messages that were left of people that were, I don't know, I guess protective, right? And they were like, you can't accuse the husband of domestic violence, or you can't accuse the husband of being responsible for what happened to Maria. I understand all that. I understand that the modern era of true crime coverage is do not think outside the box. You're only allowed to talk about what law enforcement tells you. Like, you can't say anything else. You can't speculate. You can't have sources that tell you information. People have lost their appetite for that. And I do think it was probably the Brian Koberger case where so many people started going after all these college kids. I mean, it was wild. And there were a lot of people accusing a fraternity of being basically gangster murderer types. I mean, it did get really, really nuts. And when we saw those kids speak out about what they went through, like Hunter and his girlfriend, a lot of people said, we shouldn't tolerate this type of speculation anymore. It's very damaging to innocent people. And I agree with all of the above. I do. But let's think about this again with logic, not even wild speculation, just the facts. The facts are, because I spent about 4 hours digging deep on this, y'all. I am certain of the information that I'm bringing to you right now. Maybe earlier today, I was a little unclear on some of the facts. Oh, no. I'm certain of what I'm telling you now. Okay. The husband, the father of the children, the husband of the wife that was shot and killed, he said he didn't know that she was hurt until law enforcement literally pulled up to his house and walked up to the door and told him. And that it was like 2:44 in the morning when the cops showed up to his house to tell him what happened, right? That was 2:44. They also said that cops arrived on scene within 12 minutes. That means you have a woman who walked next door. Now, we don't really know what time she walked next door, right? We don't know if she left her house at 1:30, midnight, 2 o'clock. We don't really know right now. We don't know the facts of the timeline other than there was a shot at Dulance's house next door. There were two, I think it was two shots actually. I think two shots, and he immediately called 911, and then it took them 12 minutes to respond to the 911 call and to tell the husband. So it does sound like Dulance, for whatever reason, like I cannot even imagine the reason, and I am not going to speculate. I am not going to speculate. This is too strange. But there was something that caused him to shoot. Today he has admitted to shooting. He is the one that shot. Okay, that the police have come out and said he did it. How wild is that? So this decorated officer, this superstar, really, of law enforcement and special investigations, something went wrong. Something happened that he somehow shot the gun, his firearm. Now, so Arizona does in fact have stand your ground laws, right? So there are stand your ground laws, and gosh, it's so strange. It's so weird to imagine that this strong, very accomplished, very sophisticated investigator and agent, that he would get spooked to the point that he would accidentally shoot a young woman on his porch. She was literally, listen, you guys, when they found her, she was on his porch. She was partially on the stairs. And they have, in fact, dismantled the stairs or something. They took the stairs into evidence. It's really crazy, really crazy. So what could have happened that this accomplished agent would say, okay, well, I'm under duress and I need to use my right to protect myself and my home. And Arizona is a stand your ground state. Individuals in Arizona have no duty to retreat. Even if someone's trying to use force, you have no requirement of self-defense that you first try to get away. That if there's a path of egress, you must take it. That is not the way the law is in Arizona. It is Arizona Revised Statutes 13-405, which kind of lays out the Arizona stand your ground law. A person is justified in using deadly physical force if they reasonably believe that it is immediately necessary to protect themselves against another's unlawful deadly physical force. That's number one. And then under subsection B, a person has no duty at all to retreat before threatening or using deadly physical force pursuant to this section if the person is in a place where the person may legally be and is not engaged in an unlawful act. And so, realistically, if Dulance is standing on his porch and she comes up and he says, you must leave my property, I'm feeling threatened, you need to get away. And if she says, I'm not going to leave and I have a weapon in my purse and I'm going to hurt you, he can kill her. Now, here's what I don't know, and here's what it would be very interesting to have an attorney, an Arizona attorney, to weigh in publicly and talk about, because he is trained law enforcement, does he have a different standard that he has to meet? And that is something I don't know. And I think it's really interesting to consider, right? So the Arizona Stand Your Ground laws effectively say, you are allowed to defend yourself without retreating in public or other lawful locations, not just home. So if you went into like the convenience store and you come out and you're getting in the car with your candy bar and Coke, and somebody comes up and they have a knife in their hand and they say, give me that candy bar, give me that Coke. You don't have to try to run away. You don't have to try to get in your car and lock the door. You can literally say, no, dude, it's my candy bar, my Coke, and you are threatening me, and now I'm going to pop a cap in your ass. So this is some pretty strong stand your ground, right? It's not even about like you're king of the castle, like the castle doctrine, right? Where, if you're at home, if this is your residence, or if you're in your occupied vehicle, then you have a different standard, and you can protect yourself and your inhabitants or whatever. No. In Arizona, it's wild, wild west, baby. Maybe that's why Barry Morphew likes it so much. You just have to say, hey, I don't like that you're threatening me, and I am not going to run away, even though I can easily get away from you, and get away because I'm going to kill you. That is how wide open their castle doctrine, their laws are when it comes to, you have a right to protect yourself. You have no duty to retreat, and you have a presumption of reasonableness if the intruder is in the process of unlawful forcible entry. I don't know. It is such a strange story. It wouldn't be so strange. It would just be horribly tragic, except for the fact that Dulance Morin is an elite, decorated, high-level law enforcement officer working special investigations. He's familiar with the law. He's testified in court. This is a mess, you guys. This is a mess. So there are three other statutes here that Claude spit out for me. Is the ARS 13-411, ARS 13-404, ARS 13-407, and I'll read those to you. 411 allows force, even up to deadly, to prevent certain serious crimes. You have no duty to retreat, and there is a presumption of reasonableness. The examples that gave for those serious crimes where you can use deadly force: aggravated assault, armed robbery, sexual assault. What? Sexual assault? Arson of an occupied structure. Now, I don't think that the lovely Maria was trying to burn Dulance's house to the ground. Do you? So what's the story? Why she went on a walk in the middle of the night, and how it is that she ended up on his porch, and what exactly caused him to shoot this woman? The second is 13-404, general self-defense for non-deadly physical force. Did they have an argument? Was she angry with him about something and slapped him across the face? Because this says you can use stand your ground, deadly force as a general self-defense for non-deadly force. How terrifying is that? How terrifying is that law? And then the third one, ARS 13-407, defense of premises against trespass. Maybe that was it. Dulance said, "Why are you on my porch?" And she said, "I need help," or "I'm lost," or "I want to talk to you," or whatever happened. If he says you're trespassing, get off my property or I'm going to shoot you, he can. Unless there is a special standard for trained law enforcement or trained military. And I don't know the answer to that. Okay. Arizona self-defense laws are considered among the most expansive in the United States, as noted in various legal analyses and, recent public statements. The Arizona Attorney General in 2026 said they apply broadly, but they do require the belief that a need for force would be considered reasonable under the circumstances. So that's kind of the key factor that courts are going to look at, police are going to look at. Was there something specific about the encounter that Dulance felt the situation couldn't be controlled any other way? And I don't know, as a trained law enforcement guy, somebody who's really, really experienced and obviously really smart guy, it's a very, very, I mean, like, what if she was having, let's say, a mental health event and maybe she wasn't acting in her right mind, don't you think he would have been capable of dealing with calling an ambulance? It's just so strange to think what in the world could have been going on that he shoots this young mother of 7 children. It's very strange. The laws do not provide blanket immunity. Claims of self-defense can be challenged in investigations or in trials. And factors like who is the initial aggressor or the proportionality of the aggression on both parties. So I don't know. This is going to be a pretty curious. When they come out and start like giving the results of the investigation, it's going to be really interesting. You know what I mean? It's very strange. Okay, so this happened on the early morning hours of February the 28th. Which was exactly 1 week ago. They finally came out recently and said that Dulance has admitted that he's the one that shot the gun. He is accepting that he did it. The initial reporting, it was sort of like they didn't want to say. Well, I can't say. The way that it was reported was there was a shooting at a house where law enforcement or a government official lives. So it was sort of hidden. I don't know if you'd say hidden, but very uninformative about the actual details. And it actually caused some people to start saying that it wasn't the agent that shot the gun, but one of his family members shot the gun. And that got people to, speculating. And then they finally came out and said, wait a minute, everybody just cool your heels. Dulance has admitted that he's the one that pulled the trigger, and he is on administrative leave until the investigation is completed. He is on in administrative leave. So there was a welfare check called in 244, 245. The homes are near Ellsworth and Ray Roads in Mesa. And the people that called in the welfare check, that was either Dulance or one of his family members. Somebody was in the house with him. Someone at that address called in, and the cops responded. So he had, well, I don't want to talk about that. Morin's been placed on administrative leave for the entire life of the investigation, so he will not go back to work, even if he's eventually cleared. He's not going to go back to work until the official results from the investigation are made public. The Attorney General's office is being fully cooperative with law enforcement, but already in town, people are whispering. There's a lot of online outrage by locals in the neighborhood around Mesa that feel like there is a cover-up that is taking place. I thought that was very interesting, right? The people that are really complaining about that, they're not really kind of putting forth their theory. They're just saying, we need the FBI, we need the state police, we need oversight. Things look shady. I mean, this is a very complicated, strange set of circumstances. So there are no arrests, no charges have been filed of anybody. The police have not officially named Morin, but he has made statements that he is the one that fired the shot. Someone else came forward and said that they believe that he would be vindicated, that it was self-defense. Weird. The motive or what led to the incident, still not commented on. Nobody's suggested. None of the reporters have any inside sources. But remember, Maria's family says that she went out for a late night walk, and then this altercation occurred at Dulance's house. The wildest story imaginable. There are many detectives working the case, which has made a lot of people feel like that's part of the cover-up. It seems like there's too many people that are actually executing search warrants, collecting all of the surveillance footage. It's just the people in the neighborhood are just feeling very uncomfortable with it. Maria's family is being kept updated on the investigation. And the father has publicly expressed appreciation, and he has asked obviously for privacy, but my God, I cannot imagine what that poor man is going through. 7 little children. I mean, little, right? I mean, a lot of 2-year-olds are not even potty trained, and your oldest one is only 12. This is as bad of a situation for that family as anyone could even imagine. It's devastating. There is a GoFundMe that has been set up for the Lewis family. Again, they are a very large family, and they had a stay-at-home mom and a dad that was working. And of course, now, what do you do? There's really no idea yet on how it's all going to come out. But I do feel like it's a wild enough story that I think we should be following it. You know what I mean? I don't know how it turns out as understandable. I have tried to think of every wild speculation, conspiracy theory, possibility. I can't work it out in my head. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how a perfectly lovely, wonderful 30-year-old wife even leaves the house at 2 o'clock in the morning for a walk. I don't understand that. But then, so it's weird enough that you leave your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? That's strange right there. But then you go to your next door neighbor's house where he then proceeds to shoot you and kill you on his front porch. What is that? So I don't know. It is curious. One of the speculative thoughts is the possibility of an affair. I mean, Requiem, I read what you're, putting out there. I can't even see that because, okay, if you stay with that idea, that possibility, and this is wild speculation, there's no official discussion or guess about any kind of infidelity, nothing like that. So let me say that right now here, clear. We're only talking about brainstorming. We're not saying anything that has any reality to it, okay? We're just talking about how strange, like what circumstances would explain this woman leaving her home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that right there is, you kind of are stuck asking yourself, did she not have that feeling of self-preservation? Did it not occur to her, hey, bad things are happening out there in the middle of the night. Maybe I should wait and take a walk in the morning. Right? And you got 7 kids. I would think that would make you even more aware of your safety, that you not put yourself in harm's way, lest those 7 kids need someone to care for them. So if we run with that idea, well, maybe it was an affair. Okay, so let me run with that. If that would explain it, I mean, maybe something happening that caused her to feel frantic. Maybe she felt driven to talk to her affair partner. Maybe they were having problems or something. And she snuck out of the house that her husband didn't know that she was leaving, right? Because obviously you would think all the kids, everybody be asleep at that time of night. So let's just say, there's an affair or some kind of personal reason for her to be over there talking to Dulance. What then? She goes over there, she meets him for fun, or she meets him for a quick hug and kiss goodnight. She meets him so they can break up. I mean, fill in the blank. I don't care. Whatever blank you want to fill in. What then? You're going to tell me a seasoned agent, decorated, well-known, knows the law, the whole 9 yards. You're going to tell me he's so emotionally unstable that he pulls his firearm out and shoots his affair partner on his own front steps? I can't even imagine someone being so foolish. She's taking a walk for a reason. I mean, yeah, there had to have been a reason, Nancy. So the one that came to my mind that I think makes sense is maybe she has insomnia. I definitely have insomnia. I have some nights where I don't sleep at all. Yes, going for a walk, getting fresh air would definitely help me fall back asleep. And I have a great balcony that looks out over the ocean. And there's no way to get up on my balcony unless you're going to go through all my dogs. And they're going to bark and go crazy if somebody starts walking up my balcony. So at night, in the middle of the night, when I can't sleep, I feel really protected and safe to go out on my balcony in the pitch black, look at the stars, listen to the waves. My dogs come up there and lay down with me. I feel very, very safe. I would not walk out of my door and walk out to my car at 2:00 in the morning. I wouldn't walk out there to get something out of my car. I damn sure wouldn't go for a walk down the road. You know what I mean? One time I was forced to go out to the car to get something. I got the pistol, put a bullet in the chamber. I was ready to pull the trigger. That was how aware I was of, oh, this is not safe. And it was probably like 11 or 12 o'clock, right? But I felt scared. Now I don't feel that on my balcony. All the dogs, the stairs are locked. You can't get up the stairs on that side without a lot of noise, I guess. So I think about her leaving her house at 2:00 in the morning. Something made her leave. Something made her feel secure. What? What would it be? Because she was going to meet someone she knew? Because she was going to talk to someone that she would consider her friend, or somebody that she would think, this person is trustworthy, this person would protect me, right? So I don't know. This is a really, really crazy story. She's afraid of something that happens in her house, so she walks over to her neighbor for help. Hold on. Who is in law enforcement? The man on the screen, his name is Dulance Morin. He's a special investigator. He's Arizona law enforcement. And he is decorated by the state. He knows what he's doing. He did not get spooked and pull the trigger. I am certain of that. Not this guy, not with his history. He is a professional. He knows what he's doing. So you think Nancy, you're thinking that maybe she was afraid of being in the house, and maybe she ran over to Dulance's house thinking, he'll help me. He's safe. Okay, so that makes perfectly good sense. But what in the world happened? Why did this man shoot her? I mean, she's not exactly an imposing figure. You know what I mean? She's a small, petite, young 32-year-old lady, very beautiful. What would he be afraid of? Maybe Dulance was up to something he should not have been, and Maria saw something. Oh, wow, critter. Maybe she saw him do something. Oh, wow. That is, that's a bit scary. Requiem, marriage is hard enough, but then to deal with other wives and your husband, that has to be really confusing and conflicting. Yeah, and I have spoken out many times about the stupidity of infidelity and how destructive it is, right? It destroys everything. it destroys obviously the relationship between the husband and wife. It destroys the children in the family. It destroys the family finances. You wouldn't believe the number of people that discover infidelity in their marriages and then later go on and have to declare bankruptcy, or their house gets foreclosed on because the shock of the discovery is so devastating that people just lose the ability to manage normal life. It could be it's the dumbest thing that any one person can choose to do, that I think if most people had like a crystal ball that they could look at and see the future, I believe if they could see the future and what that affair discovery was going to do to the people in their lives, I think most of them would go, hell no. Either I get the divorce and just do it clean and do it the right way, or I work it out and try to keep my marriage together. I think too many people think that infidelity, having affairs, nobody's going to know, nobody's going to hurt you. Look, I know of a person who they had an idea that the husband was screwing around, and his defense was, I'm at work all day. Check my location. I'm at work all day, right? Well, the affair partner was someone at work, and at lunchtime they'd go out to the car and do the dirty deed. And on the clock, check my location, dear. I'm at work. And this poor person was so conflicted and horrified that there was a horrible car accident that put a lot of people in jail because, she lost control emotionally. So, affairs, infidelity, it is not a victimless crime. It is absolutely devastating. The people that are betrayed, they really feel like they are under threat, and their reaction, they go into a powerful fight or flight response, and boy, they can do some terrible things when they're emotionally distraught. So it is very confusing. It is, you look back at a lot of these big true crime cases that we talk about. You've got Barry Morphew, where Suzanne was having an affair. There's a lot of, suspicion that Barry was also screwing around, but he didn't like it when, the shoe was on the other foot. You got Chris Watts and Shanann. He was definitely having an affair, and there was no suggestion that she was, but he was willing to kill, to hide his affair? Or was he willing to kill so that he could just be with his affair partner instead of his wife? Was he too scared of getting a divorce, and then Shanann was going to take half of the, finances? Like, it's really hard to know. But if I asked you, how many more of these people where affairs were the catalyst for these insane murders? And yet, dumbasses say, oh, I'm unhappy in my marriage. I think I'll be better if I have an affair. They just don't have the ability to look forward and see the reality of the destruction and devastation that happens when people are betrayed. And what's that old saying? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. No, it's not just women. Hell hath no fury like a man scorned either. Betrayal and infidelity are dangerous business. Very dangerous. Like, look at Corey Richins. Thank you, Nancy. Exactly the same thing. And what did you notice about that story, Nancy? Corey's screwing around. Eric is supposedly also having an affair, that he had the first affair. I guess she wanted to get back at him or whatever. She's got her hot and heavy little love affair, like a decades long love affair. You would think, okay, well, if Corey Richards isn't married anymore, then that opens up the door for Corey and Josh to be together, right? To get married and be in love and be with their true love. What happened? He dies, and that is the end of the relationship between Josh and Corey. Y'all want to know something? It happens like that in almost every relationship. Even when there's an affair, even when they follow up by getting a divorce, the affair always ends. It doesn't, it is a very rare, something like only 2.02%, not 2%, 0.02% of the total sample, which we had like 12,000 people in the research. 0.02 of those 12,000 people, all of which had affairs, this teeny tiny minority of affairs that survived the end of the marriage. Isn't that wild? It's just crazy. It's crazy. No, the infidelity is temporary insanity. People that are cheating, they're lost in a fantasy world. It's not real. They're pretending there's someone else, or that they don't have all these responsibilities. Something goes haywire in their head, right? And whether the death happens because someone freaks out and acts out in tremendous passion, or whether it's a little like being Arkansided, where the affair partner starts thinking, oh, I don't want to lose my marriage. I don't want to lose my kids. I don't want to share half my money. Therefore, I'm going to kill my affair partner so she can't blow the whistle on me. Like Chris Watts, perhaps. Maybe that's why he did it. It is hard to know, but one thing is certain. When there are affairs, there is the potential for great violence. So, I don't know. I can't, none of the possibilities make sense to me. I don't understand her leaving at 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. I think clearly she was either emotionally overwhelmed, in distress, or she had a reason to feel secure and safe wherever it was that she was going, right? And there's no way to know which it is. If she's a total stranger and she's begging and crying for help because she's afraid of getting her, beat up or whatever, then why wouldn't a law enforcement officer jump to the occasion? Why wouldn't he hear this woman, ringing the doorbell and saying, please, please help me, somebody's trying to hurt me? Why wouldn't he open up the door and bring her into his house? Because he's a police officer, right? If he knows her and they were meeting to talk out whatever friendship or problem or relationship they were in, what would cause him then to suddenly turn on her and shoot her on his porch? He knows damn well that when he shoots her, there's going to be an investigation. He knows damn well that he could end up going to prison. So why wouldn't he be at least even more calculating? If he's a psychopathic maniac and he decides he wants to get rid of his affair partner, wouldn't he want to make out a plan that somehow he would be overlooked as a possible perpetrator? I have no idea. Hybrid. The husband said he had no idea that she had been shot, and that she had left the house to go for a walk and he had stayed home to take care of the kids. That's his story. That's what's being reported in the police press conference. Sometimes people are just unhappy in marriage. They do something that they normally wouldn't do, but I'm not talking about killing your partner. That is crazy. Well, yeah, there's a million different reasons that people have affairs. There's also people that said they would never have an affair, even though they were really, really unhappy in their marriage, that they had made their vows and they were a person of honor and they stood by their promise not to do that, and they would stay in marriages for years and never have an affair or cheat. So the affairs are really they're they're not very rational, let me say it that way. Maybe people out there are on edge because of Nancy Guthrie. Yeah, that, I mean, very interesting. So you think, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit sexist, Diane. I have a hard time believing that this strong, accomplished, special investigator would be scared of this woman showing up at his house in the middle of the night. It seems like most people would feel protective. I don't know. I mean, nobody has the answers right now. We're waiting. We're waiting for the investigation. Corey's boyfriend ended the affair because he saw the law going after her for possibly killing her husband, and I think he was horrified that she could do that. Poor guy seemed so traumatized. Nancy, he was a wreck. I've never seen anybody so happy to be released. He all but ran out of that courtroom. Yeah, I agree. I think it really messed his brain up, what happened to Eric. Sure do. Diana, that makes sense to me. It makes perfect good sense. Yeah, I mean, I think, well, look, I don't even live in Arizona. And the thought after watching what's happened with Nancy Guthrie, no, if somebody came to my door in the middle of the night, I would not go answer it. No. And if it was a woman crying and ringing the doorbell, I'd call the police. I'd call 911 and say, there's a woman here in distress. Please hurry up and get here. Right? I probably wouldn't have done that in the past. If I saw a woman in distress ringing my doorbell, I probably would have opened the door up and said, oh my God, what's wrong? Let me help you. But after the Nancy Guthrie thing, I don't think I would right now. I'm telling you right now, she did not have time for herself. 7 kids, husband gone all day. The only time of day she had for herself was at 2:30 in the morning. So you legitimately think, Requiem, that she wanted to just go for a quiet walk? Is that right? Now, what made her get shot at? Maybe she saw a UFO. Requiem. Not too soon, not a funny situation. Diane, that makes the most sense. Yeah, I know it's definitely. Look, it makes sense that maybe she was afraid for her safety and she ran to the house for help. Makes sense. Maybe they were having an affair. She went over there to spend time with him or have a talk with him or to break up with him. That makes sense. The part that doesn't make sense is why he would be so threatened by a 32-year-old woman. It's weird. Telling you, I think it's weird. Ring doorbells are too easy to rip off the wall or hack. The great thing we found out, Diane, is you can rip them off or destroy them, and your recording is still okay online. So that's a really great thing. I don't answer the door unless I know who it is. I mean, especially now, right? After what happened with Nancy. You said he was loss prevention at Nordstrom. Yeah, that was a long time ago, and he was the regional manager. I think he was an actual cop. That's someone like me watching a camera all day. I'm not a cop and I'm not decorated. Yeah, but remember what I said. He went through all the training. He went to the police academy. He did everything. And ultimately he was doing investigations for the Securities and Exchange, not exchange, Securities and investigations for wealth for Arizona, and then he worked there for a while, and then he got picked up by the Attorney General's office, and he's doing investigations and offers evidence and stuff in court. He's a certified expert for the courts. Did he remove his doorbell camera? Web Sleuths has a rumor saying that. Wait a minute. Hold on, Trisha. Trisha might have gotten excited. I don't know that I believe that, Lily Bell, because my brain, I can remember a report where a journalist said that the police had removed the security cameras. The security cameras have been collected. Okay, it was very specific. So what? Did Trisha and the girls get excited about, oh, this is going to be just like Nancy Guthrie? No, that's not what they said. They said the law enforcement, as a result of the investigation, they collected the cameras. Now, I have not listened to Trisha, but I will go listen to it after I finish this live. But what I have been reading, and I did the whole deep dive for about 4 hours today. All the cameras were taken by law enforcement. He could have gotten some threats that made him nervous. My mom has friends in Arizona. I do not like it when she goes to visit them, and that's before Lori's shenanigans. Lori did definitely have some shenanigans, but so did the two Melanies. You know what I mean? Felony Melanie and Melanie Boudreaux, or whatever her silly name is. Is it just me? Or does it seem like the people in Gilbert, Arizona are completely unhinged? If you think Gilbert, Arizona has got its fair share of unhinged, kind of wild situations with people, put a 1. If you think, they're just like you are in your hometown, put a 2. Because I'm going to tell you something. I live very near to Houston, Texas, and I don't think we have as many crazy stories coming out of Houston as what comes out of Gilbert, Arizona. It's wild. And the fact that that's where Barry Morphew ran away to, and he was working in Gilbert, what gives? That is so crazy. It's like everybody's in a cult or something. It's kind of scary. And yes, there are some delightful people in Gilbert, Arizona. It's not all about hating on the folks in Gilbert, Arizona. Okay, let me say that there are some lovely people there. They're not all like Felony Melanie. They're not like that nonsense. All right. So I don't know. I hope you guys, because because you know me, I'm working a lot right now and I don't have all this freedom to do all this, YouTube and stuff when I'm not working. So, my request to you guys, would y'all help me kind of keep an eye on the news? You guys are all really, really great helping to keep an eye on the news, like throughout the whole Barry Morphew investigation. And I used to get a lot of people sending me emails in the middle of the day saying, "Oh my God, let me tell you what happened. This happened or that happened." Um, if you could please do that with this case, just kind of keep an eye on it every day. And as soon as we get like some new information, please, reach out to me and let me know. Cause I don't know. It's this is an intriguing and absolutely heartbreaking story. It's my brain, I can't even wrap my head around this story. It's so discombobulated and illogical, you know what I mean? So if you would do that, man, I would be your best friend forever. All right. Oh, look, it's Martin Smallwood. Of course, the Barry Morphew Encyclopedia has arrived. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, he's arrested in Gilbert. Go figure. I mean, is there like some kind of energy vortex in Gilbert that robs people of their, morality? Like, what is it? Like, it must be cursed. There you go, Diane. There you go. Um, oh, thank you, hybrid. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. When I'm doing all this work, I need you guys to sort of try to do some investigating, follow up on news, and send me an email when we get some more facts. That's all I ask, because this is really one of the wildest stories that I've ever seen. Okay, so let me play a little bit of this. Let me play a little bit of this reporting. I will tell you this: the house where she was shot and killed is valued at something like $670,000. So the neighborhood, it looks to be a suburb where it's kind of pretty houses all in a row, right? So it seems like Maria's house would have been equal in value, reasonably so if it's all a suburb. um the house was purchased, oh my gosh, now I don't remember, I believe maybe two 2015 for, I think they paid like 350,000. So doubling your money in 10 years, that is not too shabby investment. So yeah, so nice neighborhood, good quality homes. It is so hard to understand what happened here. Um, okay, so I'm sorry, the Web Sleuth board says that, not Trisha. Thank you, Lily Bell. What do you mean, the Web Sleuth board? You mean like a Reddit board where they're like members are just talking about the case, and it wasn't something that Trisha like talked about on her channel? Is that what you mean? You sent some information today, Requiem. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll be reading my email when I finish here, okay? They won't release too much because of an officer involved, especially out in that area. I would 100% agree. And I think I believe I read somewhere that Internal Affairs is doing a parallel investigation, which I thought was really interesting. Maybe Internal Affairs is doing a parallel investigation. Maybe that's what is kind of prompted the outcries of a police cover-up. But I don't think so. I think anytime there is an officer involved shooting, I think they kind of pull out all the stops in the investigation, right? And I would also agree they're probably highly motivated to protect this officer, would be my guess. She posed as a photographer and got too close to Trump. What, Brian? Who's Brian talking? What are you talking about, Lewis? Brian, you're blowing my mind, dude. You got to be kind to us old ladies with feeble brains, okay? Listen to what Brian Reynolds said. Brian, are you trolling? Are you trolling me? She posed as a photographer and got too close to the president and almost blew him up, but his bodyguard got him. He never went to the hospital. The convoy was shot at too. Bullet hole in the SUVs. Brian, move away from the keyboard, sweetheart. You'll be okay. Who didn't go to the hospital? Help me understand, Brian. Speak some facts here that I can follow. Was Trump in Arizona on the 28th of February? I'm so confused. I'm gonna ask the internet. Was Trump in Arizona on February 28th, 2026? U.S. President Donald Trump speaks to the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, to oversee Operation Epic Fury at Mar-a-Lago on February 28th. I'm sorry, Brian, but not even the President of the United States can fly from Mar-a-Lago, Florida to Cave Creek, Arizona. Yeah, no, can't happen. He went to the lodge Secret Service used as headquarters at the rally. I'm not playing Jihadi Jane here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Jihadi Jane. Okay. It was I know who you are, Brian. Yeah. Okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Everybody, I know Brian goes by a different name, but I know who he is and I know what he's addressing. He's talking about the assassination attempt against President Trump in Pennsylvania. Isn't that right? I know who you are. Yep. All my life, I made all these reels off of the body cams. Well, I have one complaint, Brian. You give me the links, but then when I go to watch the videos, they're gone. So I'll go watch them. I want to watch them, but don't remove them until I get a chance to look at them. You know what I mean? All right. Okay. So anyway, welcome. And, thank you for coming into the live and let me know that you're going to have some more content up and I need to go watch it. I appreciate that. Okay. Okay. So we're going to watch a little bit of this news post about this case. And I'm going to be quiet now.
Did not get an update, but I do want to show you what we're talking about. Over my shoulder is Maria's house, and then to the right of her house is the porch where she was shot. Remember, hours after the shooting Saturday, we saw a repairman out there removing what looked like a Ring camera and removing tile that had her blood on it.
Okay, so we heard that, correct? This is a local television professional reporter, and she is saying right directly to us, hey guys, I was here. I saw law enforcement removing the Ring doorbell cameras, and they also took evidence. They took some things off the porch, some tiles that had blood on them, and apparently we're looking at where there was like a little step, and they also took the step. And you can kind of see where they removed that tile, right? So, all right, I'll be quiet now. So there you go, Lily Bell. We got some actual facts. No, the Ring doorbell was not missing. It's taken into evidence by police.
Out to experts to get a better understanding of this investigation. 4 days after Maria Lewis was shot by a neighbor in Mesa, her 7 children and husband are still in the dark about what happened. A friend telling me Monday,
you shouldn't have to feel like you can't go out to your neighborhood and just have a brief walk and feel like you're going to have to look over your shoulder and get shot.
We have yet to receive.
And see, I agree with this dude on one hand, but in terms of like taking personal responsibility for oneself, I don't know if I have that expectation of safety that if I want to go out and take a walk at 2:00 in the morning, that I'm going to be safe. I mean, how much do we have to see? All those people hanging around people's doors and porches while they're sleeping. I don't think we're living in a safe period of time. I really don't.
Leave an official account of what happened around 2 Saturday morning. Mesa police confirming Maria's neighbor, Dulance Morin, a law enforcement investigator working under Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, is involved, but not saying how.
Ultimately, a lot of people in the public are wondering what's going on. Is this a cover-up, or is this truly a right investigation under the law?
Under Arizona's standard.
What did he say? What in the hell did he say?
And just have a brief walk and feel like you're going to have to look over your shoulder and get shot.
We have yet to receive an official account of what happened around 2 Saturday morning. Mesa police confirming Maria's neighbor, Dulance Morin, a law enforcement investigator working under Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, is involved, but not saying how.
Ultimately, a lot of people in the public are wondering what's going on.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So this was reporting before law enforcement came out and admitted that that Dulance has admitted to pulling the trigger, or he says he's the one that shot. Apparently, this was beforehand, and they were trying to keep it hush hush. But I do agree. I think that that's what prompted the accusations of a police cover-up, right? Look, you guys, I don't know what it's going to take. If what you want to do is to control rumor, to quell wild speculation, then as law enforcement, you need to have an open line of communication with the journalist, right? You don't have to tell them everything. You don't have to tell them every little detail about any evidence that you might collect. But when these types of stories happen, people are hungry for information. And it's not just people that, are part of the true crime community and discuss these tragic tales. It's friends and neighbors, people that live in the area, people that know family members. They need information. And when law enforcement is responsible about the information they put out, and they just say, hey, we're going to tell you what we can, and the things we're not telling you, it's because it's an important part of the investigation. And if you will bear with us, we will keep you informed, and eventually we'll get to an outcome that we can share. So please respect our need to do an investigation, and we promise to give you some information. That's all people want. They don't need to know everything. They understand they're not entitled to know about the details of the evidence and all that. They just don't want to feel like there's something being hidden. They don't want to have that feeling that there might be corruption at play. And the best way to do that is just be forthright and honest in what you do report, and give the people at least a minimum of information to let them know, like, how things are proceeding. When you start saying, we're not telling you anything, you guys need to go away, you're not entitled to know anything. Why do you think you need to know anything about Barry Morphew and the prosecution of Barry? We're not even going to let you listen on live stream. You just go away. This doesn't have anything to do with you. The hell it doesn't have anything to do with us. Do you know the people that fought the state of Colorado to not let Suzanne's case go cold? Do you know how hard they fought to say she is listed as a domestic violence casualty, and you cannot remove her from that designation? There was very clearly domestic violence going on, and we have to stand by these women that are being brutalized in the homes where they're supposed to be safe and people are supposed to love them. And Barry did do those things, and we need a legitimate investigation, because right now, today, it's Suzanne Morphew, but next week it's going to be another woman. And the next week after that, another woman. So no, I think the state of Colorado, they need to acknowledge that Suzanne's case prompted real passion for domestic violence survivors and victims, people that didn't survive it. I think that the district attorney in that case is wrong in trying to once again cover up, right? Keep it quiet. Don't let any information out. And, I expressed my thoughts to her. So, all right.
Yeah, a right investigation under the law.
Under Arizona's Stand Your Ground law, a person is allowed to use force, even deadly force, if they reasonably believe force is necessary to stop a threat. But even then, Stand Your Ground cases are not black and white.
Her being on his property could be one factor of that decision, but whether that decision was justified or not is more complex.
I asked law enforcement expert Josh Logan if we should read into the quick removal of the blood-stained stones and camera. He said once the crime scene is processed, it's the homeowner's duty to clean it up. As for how long it will take Mesa police departments to
And we just dealt with that with the Nancy Guthrie thing, didn't we? I got to tell you, I got really miffed with AI. I was putting together a video that I'm going to do tomorrow, and I was trying to get like specific information between how long it was between when the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, when it started, like what time of day or night did they actually go to the house? And when did Sheriff Nanos give up the house, right? And the first answers that came out was, oh, the house was kept in police custody for so many months. And I was like, you a damn lie. That's not true. The house was no longer being investigated within literally 36 hours, 48 hours. And then after I said that, and I told AI that they was a damn lie. I said, you a damn lie, AI. And so then it came back and it said, there is reporting that Brian Enton walked onto the porch 2 days after law enforcement completed their primary investigation, and the house was locked down. after Brian Enton got the video footage of the blood on the sidewalk. And once again, I said, AI, you a damn lie. That is not true. That he got the footage of the blood and then they, locked down the location because they ordered pizza. Some journalists, some YouTubers literally ordered pizza, and the pizza driver tried to deliver it to Nancy's house. So that's not true either. Do you know it was 3 times it took AI to finally get it right? Now, it never wanted to admit that Nanos gave up the house and then went back for more. But it was finally accurately described, but only because I'm sitting there telling it, right? It finally admitted and told the truth that, it was really the first day. They went in, they did what they're calling the primary investigation, which nothing was investigated. No evidence was taken out of the home, nothing like that. But it says they responded, they had it for less than 1 day, and then they left because the primary investigation was over. And then Brian Enton got the recording, the pizza was delivered, and then, which was like 3 weeks later. And then when the pizza got delivered, then it was soon after that they actually put up the crime scene tape, posted law enforcement at the house, and kept people away from the property. And I said to AI, you a damn lie. But thank you for finally getting it right. And why don't you include how the scene is virtually unusable because the sheriff did not lock it down? Because people, YouTubers, journalists were walking all around the house. They were walking all around the house. The crime scene is destroyed in terms of utility of evidence collected from outside because they just walked away and left the house. So it's very weird. But this situation has been handled differently, and they immediately got the cams, they got the evidence, took that into custody, and it's been limited who had access.
Include the investigation.
Looking at this case from just looking on Facebook and in social media, it's a very high profile case, and because of that, typically you look at the higher the profile of the case, the less information they're going to release until they have 100% definitive nature of that.
The AG's office confirms Dulance Morin is on administrative leave, his law enforcement status potentially triggering a criminal and administrative investigation. But I'm told qualified immunity doesn't apply here because the shooting didn't take place while Morin was on duty.
Public wants transparency, and that's what the community wants. That's what the victim's family
Yep.
wants.
And so we wait, and we will continue to reach out to Mesa PD every day until we get an update in the facts in this case.
So to be clear, the Maria's house is the one back behind her that has the flagstone on the pylons in the front yard or at the front of the house. Yeah, look, beautiful Spanish tile roof. Yeah, it's beautiful. These are expensive homes. So I haven't been able to find anything like what the husband does for a living. But I was able to find where they did report that she was a stay-at-home mom. So, and yeah, rightly so, right? 7 kids. Ugh, just brutal.
Meantime, I was told that the husband of Maria didn't want to talk today. He is celebrating his daughter's birthday. The family.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Oh, that poor family.
Questions around the fatal shooting of a Mesa mom and 7 of seven, mom of seven, remain unanswered tonight. The Mesa Police Department says it's investigating the death of 32-year-old Maria Lewis Saturday morning.
But they won't say who the shooter is or if any charges will be filed. Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez joins us live now from the Mesa Police Department with an update and what we know so far.
Yeah, guys, there are so many questions.
And to be clear, law enforcement has now, I think it was yesterday, may have been today, the law enforcement has now acknowledged that indeed was the agent, Dulance Morin, who pulled the trigger, and he has admitted to pulling the trigger.
Surrounding the shooting and what led up to it, but we can confirm that the man who lived at the home where the shooting took place is Dulance Morin, and Dulance Morin works for Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays. We can also confirm tonight that Morin has been placed on administrative leave.
Just yesterday, I was just scrolling through YouTube and seeing Mia's face on the news, and I honestly just couldn't believe it.
Friends of
Look how beautiful this woman is. Absolutely gorgeous. If you want to write down the name of the GoFundMe, if you want to make a contribution to the family, it is Support MEA's Family After Tragic Loss.
32-year-old Maria Lewis are in shock.
It just breaks my heart just for someone that has kids of their own and that's a dad. Like, I can't imagine what those kids and what AJ's going through right now.
Oh, he's traumatized. He's about to cry. I cannot imagine how terrifying for this neighborhood. This must be so surreal.
It just makes me sad because, like, ever since I first met them and lived with them, they made me feel.
Oh, he lived with the family. Oh my gosh. What a beautiful family. Wow. Look at that sweet baby. Yeah, that's just devastating. So sad.
Like, I was one of their own, like I was family. And
questions abound after Lewis, a Mesa mother of 7, was fatally shot around 2 Saturday morning, reportedly after some kind of argument with a family member. We're told Maria somehow ended up at her neighbor's front door where she was shot and killed. Residents are very concerned about why.
So they did mention an argument, I think.
After some kind of argument with a family member. Around 2 questions abound after Lewis, a Mesa mother of 7, was fatally shot around 2 Saturday morning, reportedly after some kind of argument with a family member.
Okay, so they're reporting I mean, the way it sounds to me is she left the house to go on a walk. What, after they had an argument? She and her husband had an argument, perhaps? So that does kind of fit with what we've kind of been brainstorming, right? Oh my gosh, it's so sad.
We're told Maria somehow ended up at her neighbor's front door where she was shot and killed.
And it is like literally her next door neighbor. Not 2 houses down, not 3 houses, not across the street. Literally her actual next door neighbor. That is interesting, isn't it? What do y'all think? Y'all think she really was like running for help? You think she was scared? What do y'all think? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate tagging me on the information. I'll definitely watch it. Thank you. Makes you wonder why she was there. Yeah, it's good to see you, Justice Jane. Welcome. Yeah, I don't know. It's just but at least we have one reporter saying she left the home after a family argument. So we at least have that little bit. Man, it's just wild.
Residents are very concerned about why a mother of 7 was shot and killed by her neighbor. Can you give us any information on the shooter and if charges were pressed? At an unrelated news conference Monday morning, Fox 10 took the opportunity to ask Mesa Police Chief Dan Butler who the shooter is and if the person was arrested. Mesa PD will only say it's investigating. Meanwhile, the Attorney General's office tells us, I can confirm Dulance Morin has been employed by the Attorney General's office since February 2016. He was placed on administrative leave this weekend pending the Mesa Police Department's investigation. Lewis, nicknamed Mia, leaves behind 7 children.
So that's their family. That's 7 kids, the dad and the mom. It's awful.
Children and a husband, her high school sweetheart. He tells us his family is shattered, but he says he's hired an attorney. Maria's family wants to seek a murder charge against the shooter, who had the blood-stained tiles removed from the home's entryway within hours of the fatal shooting.
And it makes me even more sad that compared to all the other doors on the block, he has a window compared to like this door. Like he could have at least seen who was at the window before he just briefly just decided to do that. Like there's.
So does it look like does it look like he shot through the glass? Or is that like I don't know. What do y'all think? No, there's no way it would be that like straight of a line, huh? But it does look like it's. I don't know. I'll keep looking, see if anybody says anything about it being damaged. He would have to shoot through it to assume that he didn't see her. I think he opened the door.
He's leaving behind 7 kids. I mean, I just can't imagine what they're going through as a family.
I can't even imagine. I can't. None of this makes sense. Why would a law enforcement officer look out the window or open the door? And does she look like an imposing figure? Like, does she look threatening? It's such a strange story. But again, the GoFundMe support MEA's family after tragic loss.
I'm here. I just want to show my face and just let them know I'm here for them.
And keep in mind, something else that we have questions about is the fact that police responded to a welfare check Saturday morning, not a 911 call. Meantime, as you can see, the family is absolutely devastated. They have set up a GoFundMe page to help.
So it was a welfare check? I wonder if the husband called the welfare check. I know, Critter Watcher. Maybe the husband called the welfare check and said, my wife left the house. It's middle of the night. I don't know where she is. Will you please try to find her? But then what prompted the shooting? Usually the castle doctrine defense requires the victim to be across the threshold and inside the house. Not in Arizona. Arizona is like the wild, wild west. They don't care. You don't even have to try to escape. You don't have to even be at your house. It's why at the beginning of this video, I went through the AI describing the Arizona stand your ground laws. It's pretty tough. Yeah. Hey, Moments in Trading. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, you should read about it, Moments in Trading. Their stand your ground, it's a little bit more like, gunfight at the OK Corral. That's kind of what it is. So it's pretty bad. Yeah, they called a welfare check. Interesting. maybe Dulance was using some substances at that time of night and he was paranoid. Well, I mean, now that's possibility, Critter. Yeah, maybe I could see that for sure. Yeah, it almost the strangeness of the whole thing. It almost requires that somebody was using, and the 28th, that was Saturday. So this shooting technically happened Friday night, right? Which again increases the possibility of there being substances involved. So yeah, this happened on the 28th, but it was the early morning hours of the 28th. So overnight Friday night into Saturday morning. Okay. Whomever draws first is legally justified. I'm not sure that's exactly how it goes moments in trading, but yeah, I get the spirit of your comment. All right. So that is pretty much it right there. So interesting. I really hope you guys will keep an eye on the story for me and send me a message so I'll know if something happens like during the day while I'm working. I'll jump as fast as I can, within reason. But yeah, it's a very sad case. Okay, the reason that you're looking at the Barry Morphew slide is because that is my Cave Creek, Arizona song. And since we are once again talking about Arizona, I think I'll go ahead and play this song as our good night. Sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. But I promise what I'm going to do tonight after I finish up here and go and read my email and go watch some reels, I'm going to write an Arizona song for this story because something tells me we're going to be talking about this story for a long time. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be another one of those stories that is going to stick with us? I think it will. Tomorrow when I finish working, I think I finish at 2:00 tomorrow. I want to go over Josh Grossman's cross-examination, which is not anywhere near as long as what the direct was. So I want to do that. And then we'll check up and see if we got any additional information on the shooting death of Maria Lewis. And then I got to get started on the Suzanne Morphew visuals, and that would include that me and Martin need to talk about it. So that we need to gear up for that too, because that is going to be some very interesting information to be able to see what Martin and AK were able to put together to see where the phone calls, the text messages, the timing, and the location of their two vehicle or phones, I guess technically you should say, is very illuminating. It's really illuminating. So I got to get started on that. And I don't know if I'll have time tomorrow. I hope I will. But for sure, I will be back tomorrow. And then I have another story to introduce about 3 kids who are standing trial as adults. And that is another shockingly horrifying story like this one with Maria. It's another shocking story that you just can't wrap your head around. So that happens tomorrow. Okay. All right. So we're going to listen to an Arizona song as we go out in memory of Suzanne Morphew, domestic abuse survivors in general, and yeah, the possibility that Maria was facing some violent behavior at the hands of a loved one or a man is a possibility. And so we will end with this. Please, if you don't mind, would you do a thumbs up, number one, and subscribe. And also when you subscribe, remember to hit the bell for all notifications. And then YouTube will let you know when I put up new content or when I've gone live again. So I hope you'll do that for me. Share the content with your channel and people that would know. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And there is some music coming, I promise. There we go.
Barry Morphew had it all, a millionaire's golden crown, big house in the Rockies, king of a small town. But darkness brewed in his heart, a secret cold as stone. Suzanne went missing, her fate he would never own. In a shallow grave marked by one lone tree, under Colorado stars where no one would see. With a shovel and lies he buried his sin, but the truth has a way of creeping back in. Oh, Barry, you ran to Cave Creek, Arizona, hiding in a biker bar, waiting for your secret bust. From riches to ruins, a trailer parked the road. Now you're locked in a cage, forever alone. He fled to Arizona to outrun the law. Or was it his own guilt, a secret wish to be caught? With villains before him, real desert outlaws hide. The ghost of Suzanne whispers to him all through the night. Suzanne would get her justice, things would be made right. For King Barry in his camper cage, no escape from justice light. From a mansion to an airstream, his empire now shattered dreams. Barry now alone with no home, no friends, a man who's lost everything. Suzanne took her time, the chess pieces in place. As Barry hid in fear, Suzanne prepared her case. They would find her body abandoned in a shallow grave, and Barry's murderous acts revealed by an insane path. Oh, Barry, you ran to Cave Creek, Arizona, hiding in a biker bar, a place that made him feel ever lonelier. From riches to ruins, a trailer parked the road. Now you're locked in a cage, forever alone. In a cell with killers, thieves by his side. No more mountain sunsets, no place to hide. The elk still wander where Suzanne was laid. Her light shines bright it will never fade.
Morphew 10/17/67.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like you are here today on a warrant from the state of Colorado, and they have indicated that they want to extradite you back to the state of Colorado.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow.